From the MCPLive.tv studios, located in downtown Conroe, it's the Conroe Art League, live.
Hello, and welcome to Cal Live, the show that brings you what you need to know about the Conroe Art League, its talented artists, and the people who make it such an amazing part of the city of Conroe. My name is Susan Gramagis, and I am delighted to be your host today. And my guest today is Brenda McDougall. Welcome, Brenda. And Brenda is the current marketing director of the Conroe Art League. Prior to that, she was a docent coordinator. She grew up in Shamrock, Texas, and in Wichita Falls. She attended Sarasota School of Art, where she earned her Bachelor of Fine Arts in Studio Art. She also earned a second degree from Midwestern State University in Communication and Commercial Art. And she's been a working artist for 40 years. She has her home studio in the Woodlands, and she focuses primarily on painting, alcohol inks, mixed media, and web design art. She's married and has 3 children and 6 grandchildren. This year, Brenda was selected as a finalist in the 6th annual Cal Nation Show in Conroe. In that show, 615 works of art from 34 states across the nation were entered in the contest, and Brenda was one of the 64 artists selected as a finalist. Congratulations, Brenda.
Thank you. I was very excited.
That is quite an honor.
It is.
We're just so thrilled. You know, you said one of the comments you gave to me was that you knew you were always going to be an artist. And you told people you were always going to be an artist, just not a dead artist.
That's
right?
And, well, you have to add famous.
Famous, exactly. A famous artist. Sorry, you were always going to be a famous artist.
And I was going to be still living.
Yes.
Yes.
And there you go.
That was very important.
So I am so delighted that you're here with us today. And I would like to begin by talking about your style. How has it changed over time? The transition from traditional to alcohol ink, and what is alcohol ink? So let's get started.
Oh, that's a trick. But I think I started out the same way most artists start out. You know, I started drawing from a very young age, and I was never really good in school, so I spent a lot of time drawing. And I've always known that I was going to be an artist. And so as I got older, and and that's when I started telling people that I was going to be a famous artist. And I started typically like most artists, where in college I worked in oils, and traditional oils, realism. And from there, I went to acrylics. I think most artists, they try a lot of different mediums until they get to a point where they're comfortable with one type of art. And it took me 40 years to figure that one out. And that's now I'm an alcohol ink artist, and gone from that traditional art to very abstract, modern, contemporary art. I'm considered, people ask me what I am, and I said, well, the best label I can come up with is I'm a contemporary Western artist, because most of my subject matters is in the West. So, that's a label I put on myself.
So you went from the tradition, all the learning, to alcohol ink. Is that something that you developed on your own? Is it a unique style to you, or is it something you picked up from someone else? How did you come to do alcohol ink?
Well, it's about 7 years ago, and I was on Facebook, and I follow a lot of artists and different types of art, and I saw someone who used alcohol inks, and they were combining with acrylics, and the colors were really very pretty, very bright, and she was very abstract, and I was just like, oh wow, that is so cool, I want to do that. And that was, like I said, that was about 7 years ago. So I went out on the internet, Googled, what is alcohol ink and how to do it. And at that time, there's very little information about it. So I finally was able to get enough information where I knew at least where I needed to start. And I went to the store, I bought my inks, and I came home and I said, this is going to be easy. And I found out it wasn't very easy. And matter of fact, the first attempts, I was very dissatisfied with it, and I put them up. And it was about 6 months before I picked them up again. And as I worked with them more, I just got so addicted to the colors and what they could do. And so and at that time, alcohol ink is done on non-porous surfaces. And the idea of it is that other mediums, where you use a brush and you use water, this is used with alcohol, 91% alcohol, not the drinking alcohol.
So you don't get drunk over this?
No. I don't have a big old bottle of wine in here and adding it to my paints. Maybe wishful thinking, but that's not. It's the hospital grade alcohol that they just smell when you walk into the hospital. So after really working hard and experimenting and not getting really the results I wanted, that's when I started developing it, because there was very little information on it. And I wanted to control it instead of it doing whatever it wanted to do. And like I said, you have to use non-porous. And I tell people I paint in puddles. Because when you put your inks on your surface, you don't want your surface to suck it dry. You don't want it to soak into your paper or your canvas. This ink sits on the surface and dries on the surface. And then that's how you get these vibrant colors. Where it's so much different from the other ones.
So it sounds to me like one of the hardest part might be controlling
it is
those puddles, so that
white tiles, because they had that ceramic surface.
Right.
And so you put your ink on it, you use the alcohol solution, and you start with your puddles, and then you take your brush and just move it around to where you want it. Or you tilt it back and forth to get the colors, to react to each other. And
I think you brought a tile to.
Yes, I did.
Let's show it.
So this is what I start off with. And as you can see, there's not a lot of control here. What happened was, once I put my colors down, and then they react to each other, and I thought, oh, there's a flower right here. So then I just started working that flower till I get to where I want. And oh, there's another flower, and there's another flower. So that's how most alcohol ink artists start, is they see images in the ink because they do what they want. And it's your job to control them, where they actually turn out to be
fascinating.
something.
Yeah.
And so this is what everybody starts with. They use glass, they use ceramics, the tiles. Now they're able to come out with synthetic paper, which is a plastic type paper. And again, your ink's going to sit on it and you can move it around. So you can use any kind of surface that is considered non-porous.
And does it take a long time to dry, or?
It takes a few minutes to dry.
Really?
Quick? That quick. What happens is that the alcohol will evaporate and it leaves the color behind it. And so, that takes just a few minutes, and then you can move on. The cool thing to alcohol ink is that, like watercolor, once you put your watercolor down, there's no change in it.
Right.
But when you put it down on your ceramics or whatever surface you want, and you don't like it, you just take it and wipe it off and start again. Or you can add your alcohol solution back to it, and it's good to go for however long. So you're constantly able to change your painting up just by adding your solution.
So Brenda, when you, in the tile, you said, oh, well, a flower appeared here and a flower appeared there. But when you are wanting to paint something that's an actual, like in your desert scenes, when there you can't just say, oh, well, that's going to evolve, or how do you do that?
Well, when I first started out, the challenge was to control it. And I had to find tiles, to me, didn't work real well. As far as, if you want to display them or hang them up on the wall, there's no way of hanging them up on the wall. And so my first challenge was to find a surface I could work on. So I had my husband cut out wood panels.
Okay.
A lot of people refer to these as cradle board. And on it, I put vinyl. This is the same vinyl you're going to find it at Walmart or at the grocery store that you line your shelves with. And it has that slick surface.
Yes.
And you can peel the back off it and press it onto the wood.
Oh, okay.
And so this is what now I start with, and this is what I paint on. And then I'm not limited on my sizes. I can go from as small as I want, 4x4 or smaller, or my recent paintings are bigger, 24 by 24. You're even bigger than that.
Wow.
And I guess the challenge for as I go bigger is finding the vinyl I want. Now, some alcohol ink artists will put resin on their board, just a clear resin, and then paint on top of that, because resin is the same thing as having a plastic surface. But that can get expensive. So I'd rather stick to my vinyl. Plus, your vinyl, it comes in tubes like this. And, this is a cricket vinyl, and they come in all kinds of colors. So that's fun, too, when you can do pinks and purples and golds and silvers. And you can find this at Hobby Lobby. And this is what I use on this. And again, it has that peel back, so you don't have to glue it down.
So when you work, is it on a flat surface?
Yes.
You don't have it tilted because you have to work.
I have to work flat.
Flat.
When I put my ink, which, I work from little bottles like this. And people think, well, this must be a very expensive art if this is all your, these little bottles. And these little bottles usually run about $3. But this little bottle will last me 6 months or more.
Oh, you don't use that much.
You don't use that much. With the alcohol solution, which this is alcohol, and it has glycerin in it. When you use this with your inks, that allows you to move it around your paper as much as you want.
Okay.
And this helps slide, and helps your inks to slide across the paper, because this is a dyed base. And so when your alcohol evaporates, then you're going to be left with that beautiful, brilliant dye. And that it will stay as wherever you put it. I see when I put the inks on here and I want to have that flowing feeling, then I will tilt it back and forth this way, to get that feel, because that's what you're going to first start out with, is your background. Once I get my background down, then I can wipe off areas I'm going to have different colors, and then I start building up on my painting.
So did you self-teach yourself?
Yes. And everything I've learned is something that I developed. That I've strictly, there's not very many, there's a lot of alcohol ink artists, but they're considered hobby artists, or they're considered abstract artists, because they haven't learned to control their inks. I wanted to go beyond that. Now, I wanted to control the inks, but still keep that experimental art.
Yes.
And, so that's, so everything that I've learned is something that I developed as I was going along. And there's just a few alcohol ink artists out there who can do what I do now.
Oh, Brenda. So let's look at this. This is now a very controlled piece.
Yes. But at the same time, see, what this is where I started with the vinyl, and I started building up on my colors. And I work in layers, so I build up. And, sometimes I had to take away and then add again to get the colors I want. Where we go to our yellows, and then I'm going to build up my white ink on top of that and blend it out. Then once I finish up my design, I usually will come back with a pen on it.
Okay.
But And the pen gives me the detail. Like I'll use a gold alcohol pen, or I'll use a white pen, where I want to make sure that those stand out, that you can see them.
That is absolutely
Yeah,
magnificent. It's so beautiful. There's so much detail. And
I know that a lot of people say, "Wow, you do a lot of detail in it," and when I look at it, I don't see that much detail. But
and then tell me about how you protect it. At the last covering on it is
okay. Because alcohol ink is such a new medium. When I sell my pieces, I can't tell you that, or it's going to still be the same in 10 years from now. And so that can kind of concern me, because I didn't want to sell something that would disappear. Because with alcohol ink being so new, I'm not sure how long it lasts. So then what I started doing is I use epoxy resin. It's 2 parts. And I will pour it on my art itself. And then where you have to set up, get rid of your bubbles, you use a torch on it, then it's clear as glass. And then it locks in those colors.
And it doesn't do anything to your...
No, it doesn't. It doesn't change my colors. It doesn't fade them out. It just locks them in. So then that way I feel like whenever I sell a piece, this is going to be around for a long time.
Yeah. Oh, the colors are so vibrant. They're just beautiful.
They're just very
beautiful.
addicting.
Oh, well, let's look at some of your work.
Okay.
I know that you have a series. So is this part of your desert series?
It is.
Okay, tell me about that.
Well, this is one that I did when just before the pandemic. I was in Sedona, Arizona, and I was doing some work there, and I did a lot of photography and art. And so once I came home, and then the pandemic hit, this was a good opportunity to work on a series. I call it my Desert Spirit series. It has 22 pieces in it. This one, I was able, actually, we were driving along, we're on our way to Pager, Arizona, and I saw this canyon out the car door window, and I thought, oh, that is so cool. And I snapped it with my iPhone as I was driving back. And I really didn't think I captured it, but I was lucky enough that I did get it. So then when I got home, I was able to, after I got the nerve, because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to pull it off. And so it took me about a month to get to what I wanted. And I'm real pleased with the outcome. I started off with doing the sky. I wanted it to be very dramatic. And then once I got my sky down, then I came back and I drew in my canyon. And this painting, I play a lot with my darks and my lights. Where you have your shadow on one side of it, you have your lights on the other side of it. And that's what I wanted to show in this painting.
And the colors are so magnificent. I've been to Sedona, and when you have that red rock against that blue sky, that's amazing.
And that's what I wanted to really capture that. And that's a nice thing about the inks. The colors are so vibrant. They really are. They come very close to the actual colors in life.
It's just fascinating. Well, and there's another series or another painting that I wanted to talk about. This also, tell me about.
Again, this is part of my Desert Spirit collection, and I entered it into the competition for Cal National Show 2021 that we are having here in Conroe, Texas right now. And selected as one of the finalists.
So this is the piece.
This is the piece.
Exciting, yeah.
And I was really excited about being included in this show. It's a fabulous show, and if you haven't seen it, be sure to go by and see it.
Absolutely.
And I was lucky enough, this is the third time that I was able to be a finalist in this show. And I was very surprised this year more than ever before. But I think one of the things that I have gone for me is nobody ever seen alcohol art, alcohol ink.
It's
unusual. It's different.
Yes, I think it's going to make quite an impact because it's such, the colors are just, they stand out. They're so vibrant.
This is what's fun about, doing these pieces, and on this one it happened, is it was the accident. When I was pouring my inks for my background, and I was tilting my colors and everything, and I saw when I held it up, the ink started running down. I thought, oh, wow, that is a really good rainstorm. And so I just built on what I saw. And then I put in, from my photographs, I put in the background, the canyon. And then I put in the stream where, the storm is back here and it just came through. And then you have the stream of water in the middle of the desert.
So it evolves
into
something that when you first start out, you don't expect it to be what it is.
That's exactly what happens. I try to plan it, but sometimes it has a mind of its own, and then we go in totally different direction.
Well, and I know your next project sounds like a West Texas series. Is that going to be?
Yes.
So tell me about that one.
I am going next week, matter of fact, to Big Bend. I finished off my Arizona series. Now I'm going into the West Texas Big Bend series.
Oh, that'll be wonderful. There's so much there.
So I'm really excited about it. I was born and raised in Texas, and I've never been to Big Bend.
Oh, and February is a good time to go.
Yes.
That's what I've been told. Well, March, February, this time of the year. So
they said that it's springtime, and so I'm really excited about it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, the wildflowers start to come up.
Yes.
Oh, it'll be wonderful.
I just, so I'm going to be there all week.
Oh, good for you.
And so I'm really looking forward to it, and then come home. I'm going to have a whole bunch more work that I want to do. But this time I don't have to do it during quarantine.
Oh, you're right. That's so good. Oh, well, I just am so amazed. Now, this is another piece that you tell me about this one.
Well, this is, as the title suggests, You Are My Sunshine.
Yeah.
And this is a 12 by 12. What Conroe Art League does every year is they put on a 12 by 12 show. And the artists, works on these panels, and everybody does something different. And then we donate it back to Conroe, and then it's up for an auction. And this money goes toward our student scholarships that helps, a senior, win some prize money where they're able to use it for more supplies, or maybe they need to buy some art books, or just it helps them on their journey as being an artist.
Another wonderful thing that the Conroe Art League does.
And that one I donated for that show.
Oh, that was a great piece, wonderful piece.
And that was done on a black vinyl.
Oh,
yeah.
I was going to ask you if you painted that or if
on the back part of it is a black vinyl, and then I came back in with my whites and yellows and oranges and put in my sunflower on top of the black vinyl, and then I finished it off with the resin.
Wow.
So I was very excited about it.
Oh, well, it's
hard to
such
give
an
up.
incredible cool technique.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
just think it's wonderful, and you are obviously have mastered it. Is there one piece or one series that you're absolutely the most proud of, or if you had to pick one, would that be hard to do? Or
it would be hard to do, but I think right now my favorite is my Canyon Country.
The Canyon Country.
Yes, and I think that as an artist, for me, because a lot of them is my favorite pieces at the time that I'm working on them. But as an artist, if I'm able to get you to stop and look at it, I feel like I accomplished my job. It's nothing more exciting for me is as when people are in galleries and they're walking by and something catches their eye and they back up and look at it. And and they'll get about this close to the painting, and just trying to, how did they do that? And to me, that makes it all worthwhile.
Oh, that's
that's my favorite part. And they'll ask me if I'm there, and I can see them looking at it. And I said, you can't touch it. Oh, and they get so excited. Really? You're gonna let me touch it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I understand that. I want to do the same thing. When I look at people's art, I say, can I touch it? Yeah.
Oh, Brenda. Well, it's so inspirational. You obviously have so much inspiration in what you do, and I can't wait to go look at the Cal National, all the different paintings that are
It's a
and
beautiful
pieces.
show.
All the works that are there. It's going to be such a fascinating thing and such a wonderful thing that the Conroe Art League does.
We're very fortunate that the city has donated the building, and that we're able to have these kind of shows.
Absolutely.
Not everybody can do that.
Absolutely.
So that is really special. And I know for myself that as an artist, I thoroughly enjoy it. It's a beautiful place. The work looks good up on the walls, and so it's all been worthwhile.
It's all wonderful, and I am so grateful and so thankful that you gave us your time today and talked to us about this fabulous technique that you have developed and the wonderful works that you produce. They're just amazing. I want everyone to go to the Conroe Art League and look at these beautiful pieces of work that Brenda does, and learn more about what the league does for our city. So thank you so much for being my guest today. And
Thank you for asking me. It's been a real treat.
well, we all will